I'm your host, Ashleigh Clyde, reporting for Kids First. Today, we have a truly spectacular lineup of writers. Joining me are three brilliant minds behind Paddington in Peru: Jon Foster, James Lamont, and Mark Burton. Jon and James are an Emmy and BAFTA winning duo, known for their incredible work on The Amazing World of Gumball, The Adventures of Paddington, and now Paddington in Peru. They've also collaborated on projects for Marvel, Netflix, and even wrote a memorable sketch for the Queen's Platinum Jubilee. Mark Burton is an acclaimed writer whose impressive career spans across iconic shows like Spitting Image and Have I Got News for You. He co-wrote Madagascar, Wallace and Gromit, Curse of the Were-Rabbit, and Shaun the Sheep, the movie, which earned him BAFTA, Golden Globe, and Oscar nominations. I'm so excited to chat with all three of them today. Welcome to the show.
Hello, nice to meet you.
Well, I want to start off by just saying, oh, by the way, is it okay if I call you guys by your first name? I am a little... Okay, cool. All right. So Paddington in Peru takes this lovable bear on a brand new adventure. How did you all balance staying true to his character while also introducing those fresh and exciting elements? Jon, can we start with you?
Well, we've all worked with Paddington for quite a long time. We were all involved with the first two films, and myself and James did write several seasons of an animated TV show, which Paddington is in. So I think if you know Paddington as a character, he's sort of, over time, sort of, he's in your heart. So you instinctively know what he will be, what he might think, what he might do in a certain scene. So you're always trying to look after this bear in a certain sort of way. And I think then you're sort of quite aware that you need to break new boundaries and you need to find something new to tell the audience, albeit at the same time with the characters we know and love, and not breaking too far outside of what we know and what our comfort zone is for a Paddington movie. So I think you're always trying to balance, like, let's try and do something new, but let's also make sure everybody feels like they're with the same bear and the same family as they go.
It's very interesting. And James, was that difficult when writing and keeping that authenticity, but also having all these beloved fans of this bear who obviously have a standard? Was that a little hard in writing? Was that taken into account?
Well, it's definitely a weight of responsibility that you feel when you approach the script and you think, right, okay, there's, we want to get this right. And obviously the first two films were enjoyed greatly, and you feel like you want to meet that correctly. But I think one thing we had on our side was that this movie, it rather than just being a sequel where we do something different, it feels like part of the whole story of Paddington. And it feels like felt like quite a natural story to tell. In the first movie, he comes to London in search of a home. In the second movie, that home is turned upside down, and in the third movie, he sort of receives a call from his other home in Peru, and he has to go back there, and that stirs up a lot of feelings for him about what home and family really means. So as much as it was a very different movie in terms of it's more of an adventure film, and there's different sort of sequences that we enjoy, as part of his story, it felt like a sort of natural progression, and that was definitely quite helpful in keeping it like grounded and part of the trilogy of movies, as it were.
Right. And Mark, do you have anything to add as well?
I think they've said it all, but I mean, I certainly agree that that it felt like this was the next chapter of Paddington's story, and that there was a kind of natural art to the storytelling. I mean, I think going back to the idea of Paddington as a character, that we always feel that Paddington is a kind of moral guide for us in the story, and that he always sees the good in people, and I think that's why people enjoy being in his world so much, because he kind of has this mixture of wisdom and innocence, which I think people really engage with.
Yeah, absolutely. And also let's pivot now to the humor in Paddington's story. And no wonder why this film was hilarious. The writers of The Amazing World of Gumball, my favorite show, wrote it. So humor is such a big part of all your storytelling. How did you find the right balance between that humor that not only resonates with kids, but also that wit that keeps adults entertained as well. Mark, do you want to start off?
I'm going to throw it to the guys because I didn't do Gumball, so I'm going to let the guys are the Gumball heroes.
Right,
But you know
yes.
something we learned doing Gumball is that we always treated Gumball like it was a sitcom. Obviously, it was a kids' show, but we wanted to write something that we would also want to watch, and I think that is true of writing the movie as well. You're always thinking, okay, what would make me laugh? That doesn't mean it would make a child laugh as well, but you have to kind of come from like what is funny first and foremost. You can't be designing something for a particular audience. So you're always trying to find the funniest thing in a scene or the best thing for a character to do, no matter what their age or who that character is. And it's also about finding a balance as well. Like there are certain type of jokes that are physical. You know, Paddington might do a pratfall, for example, or do something like Charlie Chaplin. Other times it might be something to do with one of the more adult characters. Then you're trying to find something that kids might laugh at happening to an adult. Like, you know, there's always a balance, and and the great thing is we've got a big cast of fantastic characters and actors that we can play with. So we're very lucky to be able to pull on all those strings.
Yeah. And also when it comes to writing, I assume a children's film, you have to have a certain level of imagination or a childlike imagination still when writing. How do you guys keep up with that childlike feeling when you're writing and not allowing the adult gloom and doom
Yeah,
come
that's
into
interesting.
that writing?
Very interesting, very interesting. I mean, I think you sort of access your inner child. I think having your own children helps that. I mean, the guys, I got my kids are, pretty old now. They're kind of grown. They're older than me. In fact, they got so old.
They were,
now. Yeah, but I think the guys have got younger kids. So that's one thing because it kind of you kind of rediscover the world through their eyes. And I think but another ways, I think it's just about that thing of being able to access your own childhood memories and remember what it was like to be a child. And and I think as long as you can keep those channels open, then I think you can still write, with that perspective.
Also, I think children have an innate sense of curiosity. And I think the more that you can stay curious as a screenwriter, the better. And I think when you approach any project, you're like, oh, I'm curious about how this one would go. Like the kind of exhilaration of having a blank page on a script before you start storylining it or writing it is a childish sense of wonder. It's like, okay, what's this going to be? And and you do get that feeling quite regularly as a writer, if you are starting lots of projects, which you always are. And I think, maintaining that sense of curiosity and wondering what it will be and what characters you can meet along the way is probably part of it.
And also just not growing up, just being
Yeah.
incredibly childish. And I think a lot of the things that children understand the best are those kind of like primal emotional responses. And I think no matter how old and grizzled you get, you're still prone to jealousy and foolishness and love and suspicion and all of these sort of basic core sensibilities that we all have. And if you just, keep
and playing Keeping Up with the Balloon, that never gets old, does it?
no, never stops.
Oh, thank you so much for this interview. If I could sit you guys down for an hour, I would. You guys are absolutely fantastic. I love the film. I love all your work. And thank you again for coming on the show.
Thank you for some great questions
Thank
as
you
well.
very
Really
much.
interesting.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much, Jon Foster, James Lamont, and Mark Burton for joining me on the show today, for sharing their creative journeys and insights with all of us. Paddington in Peru is such a heartwarming adventure, and I can't wait for you all to experience it. I'm Ashleigh Clyde, reporting for Kids First. Don't forget to catch Paddington in Peru in theaters Valentine's Day, February 14th, 2025. I'm Ashleigh Clyde, reporting for Kids First. Be sure to like and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on another interview just like this one from me and my amazing teammates. Thanks for watching. Bye.